ultimate dating survival guide. Thank you for joining us. Y'all good? This is all the way. This is gonna be fun. Hey, if you're on here, if you got the link, it means that you registered. So we're grateful, we're thankful for taking this journey with us. And you already know, because you wouldn't be on here if you didn't know, but we've got a new book coming out, which is cool. A relationship roadmap. After dating, being married for 11 years, pastoring for 13 years, doing a million singles nights that have gone on and on and on. All of that has culminated. You know what started this? I did a sermon series called...
Don't Get Married Until.
No, it wasn't Don't Get Married Until. It was The Jungle. Yes. The Jungle series. You remember that?
I do remember The Jungle.
Were you around? Yeah. And we came up with this phrase of the jungle has spoken. Which is, I just like doing my hair this way. Well, if you've been single for 4 years, the jungle has spoken. Anyway, we're not going to get into it. But all of it is culminated into a book, a relationship road maps, coming out January 21st, and which is all the way cool. But it's available for pre-order right now. You can go to stephenrchandler.com or SlightFlex. Anywhere books are sold, you can go ahead and grab it, which is all the way coming. We're asking that you would pre-order the book. The more you pre-order it, the more different places are going to pick it up, and it's going to get featured and all that other good stuff. So it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. We're going to jump through this survival guide. How do I survive out in these streets? And then at the end, we're going to open up for Q&A. So, hey, watching online, first of all, I already know the chat is going to be insane, and I'm kind of tracking with it and watching it myself. But throw in there, our team is in there, kicking out the crazy people, and also gathering all the questions that you throw in there. So throw your questions in the chat, and we'll unpack some of those. The more controversial, the better. Y'all know me. I'm an 8 on the Enneagram. I like the drama. I'm here for all the smoke. And this ain't church. So if I hurt your feelings, it wasn't your pastor who did it. It was just Stephen. You'll be okay. And that'll be the day. Y'all ready to rumble? Yeah. You're ready to rumble? Throw it in the chat. Let's go. All right. Here we go. Let's start. This is about dating, right? Yeah. It's not about marriage. No. But let me talk about the biggest issue in my marriage right now, and then we'll jump into the whole dating side. But I don't even know, from the day me and this beautiful woman got married, we've had one argument in our marriage that we have not been able to solve, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to solve. And that was what our first date was. Yeah. If you've dated, you know sometimes a little argument of what was the first date. If you ask her, and we're not asking her, that's why we put her there, even though you do have a mic, so I'm going to get in trouble with that microphone, but we may mute that microphone. If you ask her, she'll tell you our first date was Double T Diner. Yep. If you are from Baltimore, you know, on Route 40, right on the corner, Rolling Mill Road and Route 40 right there. We went to that Double T Diner, and not the current version of it, because it got renovated. So we're talking about the trashier version of what it was. And it was the day that I had decided I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. So we were real churchy. We were at a worship night, like Catalyst or whatever, at some church in White Marsh, and said, hey, do you want to, grab food afterwards? If I randomly ask you to grab food after and you get 5 minutes notice, come on, studio audience, help me out. That's not a date, right? I got a witness. It's not a date. We're just hanging.
If there's nobody else there.
Okay, if I paid. Now, we got to stick to the time. If you had said, no, you didn't want to be my girlfriend, I wouldn't have paid. You'd have got that half of that. You'd have got that half of the bill. So the only reason I paid is because you said yes. But anyway, so we had worship night. We're like, hey, can we go or whatever? She's like, yeah. And you couldn't make this foolishness up. We pull up to the diner, and there is an ambulance outside of the diner carting a man out of the front door. I don't know if he tried the peach cobbler. I don't know what happened. But homie had a heart attack in the diner. There's this whole scene and commotion. And okay, I am a pastor. I do have a heart. I just didn't have it that night. I was like, get this guy out of my way. I've got a plan. I've got to focus. And we go in and we sit down. I don't even know what we ordered. I don't remember what we ordered. I just remember I had this speech in my head, and this was my moment. I was going to shoot my shot. We had been friends for 2 years. She'd been at the church for 2.5 years, and I was just like, man, this is the moment. I remember I don't know how long we were there, but I got to the moment in the dinner, like, okay, I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. And I looked at her, and I said, so I was thinking, it's the reenactment, I'm an actor now. So I said, so I was thinking. And after I said thinking, I took a sip of water. And you ever have water go down the wrong pipe? And that joint goes down, and I start coughing. And then tears start coming. And I think I got a little hysterical, so it got worse and worse and worse. I can't breathe. And let me tell you, I married me a gangster. I am suffocating in this woman's face, and she don't flinch. No, do you need help? She didn't get up, no Heimlich, no nothing. She's like, if he lives through this, then I'll find out what he really wanted. So it was probably a good 60 seconds until I could finally breathe again, finally pull myself together. And honest to God, as soon as I could breathe again, I said, so what do you think? I never asked her to be my girlfriend. I never explained anything. I never said nothing. I was just like, choke, what do you think? And she's like, well, I had her. I knew I had her. So she's like, yeah, I think so. Is that how you did it? Yeah, I think so. And it was weird. I'm extra. Y'all know this by now. And then it turns into not a negotiation, but okay, what's this going to be? Are we going to sneak around? Are we going to be public? Am I going to make your Instagram? Like, I'm the pastor of the church. Like, how are we going to do this? And the rules of engagement, I unpacked. Then the bill came, I paid, and we left. That wasn't the first date. It was, now it is? You're changing your mind? Don't change your mind on me.
Change your mind.
She said, no, it was
It's the girlfriend thing.
It was the girlfriend what?
It's asking me to be your girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't the first date. It was the first date. The first date was the following Friday, and it's my ultimate dating survival guide, so don't be mad if I make myself sound as good as I possibly can. But I called her and said, hey, okay, I'm going to take you out. Be ready at 5 o'clock, which is like, dude, who gets off work at 5 o'clock? I'm not worried about that. You just be ready at 5 o'clock. And she goes, where am I going? I said, don't worry about that. How should I dress? Warm. That's all you need to know. Show up at her house, 5 o'clock. Now, if you're not from Maryland, you wouldn't know the distance, but she lived in Lanham, Maryland, which was like the elephant graveyard on Lion King. And I lived in, where was I? Owens Mills at the time. Hour 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I drive an hour 15 minutes, pick her up. Was she ready? We're not going to talk about that, but we left at 5:30.
You tried to kill my dog.
I did try to kill your dog, but your dog was crazy. This is a different story for a different day. The ugliest dog you've ever seen in your life. Anyway, so we drove 2 hours to Philadelphia. Come on now. Listen. This is the first date. And we go ice skating first?
We did.
So I took her ice skating first. Hey, fellas, this is cheat code right here. Always take her to something that throws her off her prissy game, because she's going to try to play you and make you feel like you've got to impress her. But she up there doing the stanky leg on ice skates, and she can't stay. Oh, it was horrible. It was great. She had to hold my hand. I had ice skate before, so I kind of knew what I was doing. And, she tried to fall, so I had to save her and, help her back up. Oh, it was great. It was great. So we went ice skating. And then after that, jumped in the car and went and saw the Liberty Bell, which is a little disappointing because it's just a big, thick glass. Yeah. If you don't get there during the day, you just look through a glass. It was a horse and carriage ride, too. After, don't be spilling my story. This is my story. We saw the Liberty Bell. And then after Liberty Bell, I think we walked like a block, and there was a horse and carriage waiting on us. And this was the first week of December, by the way, so it was a little cold. So we hop in a horse and carriage, and they had blankets, had to cuddle a little bit just because it's cold outside. That was strategic and planned as well. Took a horse carriage ride, and this dummy riding the horse carriage was telling us all the stupid history of Philadelphia as if we cared. We didn't listen to one thing the man said whatsoever. And then they dropped us off. I don't know how far away. Then we walked a few blocks to Cuba Libre. I even remember, was it Cuba Libre? Cuban restaurant in Philadelphia. It was really nice. The food was really horrible. And then we walked to Like Park. It's supposed to be Love Park. You know the little red love sign? I thought it was like 7 feet tall. So you've been. So I'm like, we're going to end this date in Love Park. I get to this 7 foot tall, and this thing, I'm not lying, y'all. It was about a foot and a half at best. And I'm like, every Instagram influencer is a bold-faced liar. I don't know how y'all got these pictures there. And that's the first time I told her I loved her.
And then we had cookies.
And then I don't remember the cookies. We had cookies? It was a long time ago. I'm getting old. But that was the first date. Boom. Okay. Legit, right? Legit, right? Come on now. Give me my, what they call flowers. Here, okay, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but that's what I do. I live in trouble. Here's the backstory on that first date. I had dated 9 different people prior to dating Zai. Don't look at me with that judgmental look, okay? It was from 16 to 25. So that's not bad. That's 1 a year. You know what I mean? That's something like that. Sometimes 3 a year. But anyway, and I only bring that up to say and not to brag. It's because of the phenomenal parents that I have and the grace of God. Not because I had it all together. But I only bring it up because none of those 9 women can say I did anything ungodly with them. That I kept my integrity through those. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have brought it up. But outside, I did ghost one. I was a little ghoster. I didn't have a problem with ghosting. We'll talk about that later. But in terms of integrity and godliness and all that, it was 9 counterfeits, can I say that? Before I found the one that I was looking for. And Zai has preached about this before. But she was actually married prior to us meeting and getting married, and her husband passed away tragically a few years prior to us meeting. And I bring that up to say, in church, movies, all this, we've got this fairy tale picture, this carriage ride through Philadelphia, this ice skating story of what dating is, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of single folks, they're looking for that. Yeah. And if my dating journey, my dating story doesn't look like the fairy tale, then it must not be God or it must not be the right person. If we date for 4 months and then break up and then spin the block and then break up and then that's not the path to the marriage that I envision or whatever it may be. And a lot of times people aren't honest about what the real story looks like. Especially as church folks, we like to omit the parts of the story that does not make us look good. And what I really want to unpack today is that dating is messy. Why is it messy? Because people are messy. And I don't know. I know I'm not that old, but it seems like it's gotten messier outside than it was.
We can see the mess.
Losers out here popping balloons. He said what? Trash. He said it's trash. People out here popping balloons, which I know we laugh about that, but how relationally immature are we? Exactly. That the only way we can reject somebody is to humiliate them in front of millions of people. Like, that is insane. Nowadays, I'm hearing some folks won't go out with you until they see your pay stub. I'm not even asking how much you make. I need to see proof of your income, which
there are liars out there.
I'm not saying they're a gold digger. I don't know why I think it's a woman who's asking, but that's just my opinion. And what I find is some people, their expectations are just completely unrealistic. Yeah. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And I'm like, but you ain't none of that. And how do we navigate through all of this to almost feel like you're looking for a needle in a haystack, that person that we're supposed to spend the rest of our life with that is God's best for us? And I've discovered there's a few things that you've got to settle before you're really going to thrive in this dating world. So I just want to throw out, here's just 5 things I've got to settle before I'm going to survive in this dating world to thrive. So here's the 5. Here's the first one is, first thing I got to settle is marriage the goal of dating? Is marriage the goal of dating, and is marriage my goal? Can I throw a little busted statistics just for a second? So 47% of single folks in America say that they are looking to get married. 47% of single folks, less than half of the single population says they want to get married. Oh, no, not even want to get married. They're looking to date. Make sense? Now, 61% of men are looking to date. 28% of women. Sounds wild, right? Yeah. Men are looking to date more than women are. There's a catch. You know what the catch is. Of the 61% of men that are looking to date, only 20% of them are looking for committed relationships. Does that track? Are you making sense? So 61% of men, but most of them are about games. And only 20% of them are like, I'm actually looking, which is why I think only 28% of women want to date. Because they're like, half of y'all ain't about nothing serious anyway. But of the 28% of women that want to date, the majority of them are saying, no, I'm looking for something long-term. And here's the question, is marriage really the goal? Is that really what I want? Or is it one of those things where I'm just going to get bored and have fun or whatever it may be? And I find for so many people, one of the reasons why they can't find their forever person is because it's not a priority. It's not something that I'm actually putting as a goal in my life. And hear me, marriage is not the most important thing in life. God is the most important thing in life. You and your relationship with you is the second most important thing in life. Okay, can I get wild? Marriage is the third most important thing in life. Uh-oh. And people are not prioritizing marriage more than other things. Let me run down my list. Marriage is more important than having money. Marriage is more important than having a thriving career. Marriage is more important than having an impactful ministry. For all you super saved daughters of the temples and prophets of God's house. No. The church was not the first organization or organism that God created. The family was. Well, what about Paul? Paul said, if you're single, to stay single. Okay, well, let's talk about Paul. Paul was a Pharisee. Before he met Christ, he was a Pharisee, and one requirement of a Pharisee was to be married. You could not be a Pharisee without being married. So when Paul said it's better to stay single, it could not have been the total picture of the story because he was not single. And if you do the research, you find out Paul was talking to a particular church in Corinth that were facing execution and martyrdom. And what Paul was saying is because they are killing spouses to get you to deny the faith. In this season of persecution, it's better for you to stay single so you don't have to watch a spouse be executed. We're not living in that same persecution in 2024, but we want to pull one random Bible verse and say, well, Paul said it's better. Let me just have fun for all the sister friends. Marriage is more important than having a close circle of friends.
Wait a minute.
And I got my crew, I got my girls, I got my boys, or whatever it may be, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not a priority over marriage. Marriage is more important than supporting your immediate family. I don't have time to worry about a spouse. Got to take care of mom, got to take care of dad. My brother needs me. Your priorities are all. I could only imagine. Where's this chat? I know people are going nuts right now. Marriage is more important than traveling the world and living your best life. I don't got time to look for this. I'm going to Dubai. I'm by yourself. Stop it. Okay, can I get in real trouble? Raising thriving children is important. But marriage is the solid foundation in which you're able to raise thriving children. So thus marriage is more important than children. And just because I'm Steve and I'm having a little bit of drama and fun, we have all these celebration of single parents. Where it's like, oh, you're a single mom. Oh, you're single. Yeah, you're doing it. You're great. That's awesome. Why do we celebrate single parents so much? And we should. because it's difficult to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
You are taking on a task that should be two people, and you're doing it by yourself. And if you're a single mom, if you're a single dad, we applaud you, we celebrate you. It's wild that you can provide that for your children and don't have the help and support. But we can't celebrate single parents for the impossible tasks that they are accomplishing without also acknowledging it'd be easier if they had help. Which means marriage is more important than a lot of things. And step number one is, how do I expect to win at dating when it's not a priority? I wrote this down. When you reach your goal, who will you celebrate? What matters more to you than the goal you reached? When you reach your goal, who are you going to celebrate that goal with? And who you celebrate with matters more than even the goal you accomplished in yourself. I don't know. I'm not going to preach. This ain't a message. But you look at Scripture, every massive win of Moses' life, his family was never present. So when Moses parted the Red Sea, his kids never saw. His wife never saw. When he went up and got the 10 Commandments and he's coming down, his head's glowing, his family completely missed those moments. The biggest moments of your life, if you don't have a spouse to celebrate it with. Oh, you're making single people feel bad. Yeah, I am. Okay, I'll move on. Another thing I gotta say, well, every marriage I see sucks. Ooh. So I'm not really excited about marriage. I'm not really pursuing marriage because I see married folks, and it's wild in these streets. You think dating is, that's gonna be your next book. You think dating is wild in these streets. Well, marriage looks wild. These people are miserable. They're sex deprived. They are not having fun. If that's what marriage is, I want nothing to do with it. And here's the thought that came to my mind. If you see somebody with money and they're miserable, you don't stop going to work. Come on now. You don't say, oh, money's trash. I don't want money because that person has money and they're miserable. No, you attribute their misery to them. And you're like, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to make this money because when I get it, I'm not going to be miserable with it. Then why do we attribute miserable marriages to marriage not working? Instead of, no, those people, maybe there's something going on the inside or whatever it may be. Marriage isn't the issue. The issue is when two broken people can't find wholeness and they look for wholeness in each other, it's a disaster. But marriage does not suck. And then some people, it's like, that's not really what I'm focused on based on the lack of prospects I see. Listen, okay, it's ghetto in these streets. There's not a lot of options. Or maybe my age, it's just not something that is a dream anymore. I'm too old. Let me just go get, my PhD. Let me go get my house. Let me go get my million. Let me go get whatever it may be. And here's what I wrote. No one expects the most valuable of things to be the easiest to attain. No. And if marriage is as valuable as we think it is, why do we think it should be easy? I'm not here to depress you. This is the ultimate dating survival guide.
Give us hope.
But it wouldn't be a survival if it wasn't a war, if it wasn't a battle. So I've got to realize that, hey, this is a priority, and if I don't put it as a priority, I can't expect results from it. Now, here's a couple of thoughts. Being single is not a disease. Church folks will act like, oh, you're single. What's wrong with you? You're 30 and single? What's wrong with you? Being single is not a disease. Or somebody says, amen, thank you. Hold on, because I got shade coming after that. Or necessarily an indication of mismanaging your life grossly. Yeah. So if you're single and you're over 22, what's wrong with you? What are you doing wrong and all that? It's not a disease, and it's not an indication that I've necessarily mismanaged my life.
That's great.
All the times. Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes it's an indication of misguided priorities. That, I had to get that degree, had to get that job, had to get this, had to get that. Or I just wasn't interested in marriage, so I was playing around in relationships. Wow. Sometimes it's an indication of mismanaged seasons or unaddressed physical, emotional, or spiritual concerns. Here's the thought. Being single is not a disease, and marriage is not a cure. If I get married, I won't be lonely anymore. Wild. If you're lonely single, you'll probably be lonely married. because it's got something to do with this, not from, it won't fix my poor money habits. If I suck at money single, guess what that means? I'm going to suck at money, and I'm going to piss somebody else off too. So it doesn't fix my low self-esteem. Wow. It won't fix depression. It won't fix anxiety. It won't fix stress. Wow. Marriage is not a cure. Being single is not a disease. That's so good. But it is a priority that I've got to run after. Here's the second thought. Am I offering my best? You've got to settle this if you're going to win at this whole dating deal. It's wild how we expect God to give us his best. Man, here's the spouse I'm believing for. Here's what I'm dating. Oh, I'm not talking to her, she. Oh, I'm not talking to him, he, or whatever. What's his credit score? What's your credit score? I need to see his pay stub. What's your pay stub? Oftentimes, we're like, I want the best, but we're not actually addressing, am I offering my best? Wild deal. I'll get in trouble. It'll get better at the end. You know how I do. All right. What message is my physical appearance sending?
Holy Spirit, activate.
What message is my physical appearance sending? Physical health. Have I done my best with my physical appearance? Style. Come on, guys. Do I dress in a manner to attract what I want? I'm not really stylish. That's fine. Be single for a long time. Good luck. And it's so wild. Okay.
Stephen.
Can I get in trouble? I'm going to get in trouble?
No, go ahead. I was going to tell people what you were wearing when we first started.
What was I wearing when we first started? Oh, you have my Cole-ons?
Listen, and your elbow patches?
Listen, your boy was fly on a Nordstrom's rack budget.
It wasn't this. It
wasn't this. I have developed.
You have. Oh. But you were excellent.
How much trouble?
Let me say that. You were excellent.
So, I'm only going to come for the ladies.
Why?
Sorry.
Wait.
Can we have fun just for a second?
No. What do you mean?
Your Instagram is not allowed to be your business platform until you're married. But if we looking for you, what I don't want to see is 7 biblical quotes. Here's the pitch that you're pitching for your, whatever your business is and all, and I can't find you nowhere. Yeah. What am I? Oh, you're like, I told you, ultimate things I've got.
Everyone's looking at
But literally what that is I've prioritized something else above attracting what I'm looking for now.
A man can be attracted to like ambition, like maybe they're... Okay.
No,
tell me.
Thank you. I got some real men up here. I have never seen a girl walks by, Dad, look at her ambition. Yeah. Whoa! And if he says that, ambition don't mean what you think ambition means. Okay, I got Bible. Having fun? 1 Samuel 16:7. For the Lord does not see as man sees. Yeah. For man looks at the outward. Come on. That chat is going nuts. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. What are we trying to attract? If you're a lady, you're trying to attract a man. Come on. If you're a man, you're trying to attract a woman. Yeah. I'm not trying to attract God. So sometimes, especially us super safe folks, man, I've got a good heart. He can't see your heart. Yeah. Oh, I've got a good heart. I love God. Yeah, but all she can see is you can't match. Or all she can see, you're tracking with me, and we're like, I don't know. She disagrees.
It's tense.
It's tense. You can change. You know what's so funny? Women look at a man and like, I can fix that. Right. Men look at a woman and they're like, what I see is what I get. Nope, I'm good. But am I presenting what I'm looking to attract? Here's the thing. What story is my emotional resume telling? What story is my emotional resume telling? Let's just jump for a second. So many folks are massively shy around romantic interests. And I've discovered that will keep you single longer than you need to be. So I dated 9 different people. Didn't fall into sin, so don't judge me too badly, even though I know you already are. And everybody was like, oh, that was 9 mistakes. And I don't think so. Because each one, I learned something about myself. And I also learned what I'm not looking for. Come on. You've probably dated somebody and regretted it afterwards. And going in, you're like, oh, and then that, oh, man. Well, now, next time, I know a little bit more of what I'm looking for. I know the signs to look for. And what happens? My confidence increases. And we may not realize this, but if you are shy and you're talking to the introvert, okay? So this is not like I'm this big extrovert who got a million friends and it's easy for me or whatever it may be. But if you are shy, John Maxwell, my name's Stephen Chandler, and I'm your friend. You're going to be single longer than you have to be. Because you've got to put yourself out there.
Wow.
And I might fall on my face the first 7 or 8 or 9 times, but the goal is I'm looking for one. So if the first 7 weren't the one, bump that. I'm just looking for the one that I'm spending the rest of my life with. My career, my income, my personal stability, the progress of my life all speaks to emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not just the how much money do they make or what is that. It speaks to my resume of being able to manage life emotionally. And then the last one is what favor is my spiritual reputation bringing? My relationship with God. Are you seeing favor in my life as a result of it? Got Bible for you. Jesus I know. Paul I know. Who are you? We're not even talking about are they a Christian? Can they spell Jesus or whatever? But if I've got a relationship with God, there should be miracles that you can see in my life. There should be favor. And let me just help you out. It's attractional when you see somebody's life making far more progress than they can do in their own human strength. All right, we're marching. Third one, how do I stop getting duped? If I'm going to survive this dating world, come on, tell the truth, shame the devil, put it in it. We got hashtag my mistake. It's like going in, they looked, and I got duped. What happened? And I through the people that I dated, I learned a lot about them. I learned a lot about myself. One of the things that I learned is I overcommitted too early. And I think not everybody suffers from this, but oftentimes Christians that are waiting for marriage, they're like, okay, this is the one. You don't know them. No. So don't spend $300 on the first date. Don't, throw out the entire, I'm rolling out the wreck, this is the best thing ever. And then you found out you overcommitted to somebody that you did not know. Okay, don't judge me. I put all 9 in 3 categories. Category 1, fun and mysterious, but broken and toxic.
Oh, Lord.
Stop dating these bad boys. Stop dating those girls that, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a party. Yes, and the cops are gonna come, and it's not, no, that's not what you're looking for. And I remember I was dating this one Jamaican chick once, and my mom couldn't stand my mom couldn't stand her, and she said something to get me to break up. She said, "Is that who you want raising your kids?" I was like, ooh. Come on. And if I'm just looking for a good time, then I'm looking for a certain type of person. Yeah. But if marriage is the goal, I'm looking for marriage material. Yeah. Another category was not self-aware, no realistic expectations of life.
Wow.
Just like, you're a little immature. Yeah. You're a little naive. You don't know how life works. And last category was safe, but either no passion for God or no understanding of calling. Like, Christian, not bad, but just not passionate for
I know
God.
who that one was.
You know who that was? Mm-hmm. All right.
She wasn't that
move
cute.
on. That was awkward, no, but anyway.
Was it? I'm joking.
I'm getting in trouble here, guys. Let's move on. Okay, so 3 thoughts. One is, I'm not too picky, I deserve the best. I'm not too picky, I deserve the best. Says many single people who are single a lot longer than they need to be. You are too picky. One of the things that I said it this way, and people get mad. If you have not been on a date in the last 12 to 18 months, something's wrong. You're either too picky, you're living an isolated life, or you're not putting yourself out there.
But good and perfect gifts come from God above. So
no. He who finds a wife finds a good. You can't be super spiritual and blame God for things that he's giving you wisdom for. Make sense? He's put us on this planet with 8.3 billion people. We work with people. We go to church with people. We have people who live in our apartment complex and all that other good stuff. I'm not giving out ratios or whatever, but if I've got to date 4 people before I find my spouse, I might as well get started now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if it's been 12 to 18 months and there's nothing, chances are either it's just me and my cats in my house. I'm not being, that's mean, is it? I'm loving your reaction. I'm not putting myself out there, or my standards, my expectations are too picky, unrealistic. Here's one. They seem to change for the worse after the first 3 dates or 4 dates or whatever it may be. And what happens sometimes is I'm not a very good judge of character. I see somebody, they're cute, they can spell Jesus, and I'm like, bet, here we go, this is an option or whatever it may be. And what I find is I haven't done enough vetting before I dived in feet first. And hear me, I could have avoided a lot of wasted time, or at least a bill that I didn't need to pay, if I had actually paused and said, okay, wait. Am I looking for some key things? And then some people are in the spot of good or bad, I don't see any options. I'm not getting duped. I'm not too picky. There's just nothing available. And, oh, should I? I pastor a pretty large church. And I see people join the church only here for 3 months. And they're dating somebody 3 months in.
Oh, my God.
And 6 months later, they're engaged. And 12 months after that, they're walking down the aisle. Is this too much?
No.
And then I see other people, and they're here for 3 years.
5 years.
And I'm like, what's the... That's too much? Is that too much?
No. Go for it. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people.
No. Go.
Help us survive. Help them survive.
And it's not looks. It's not income. It's not like they have an advantage or whatever it may be. Sometimes it's just priority. Sometimes it's just, I'm not afraid of rejection. I'll put myself out there. I'll throw myself out there and let's see what happens. And if they're not interested, it's their loss, not mine. And then some people are kind of timid, tiptoeing. I need a word from heaven before I'm going to give you my number. And 4 years later, the word from heaven hasn't come yet. So there's 3 things I'm looking for.
Okay.
Attraction, Jesus, calling. Am I attracted? Is their relationship with God? Is their life headed somewhere? Anywhere? Do you have a plan? And if those 3 things are present, I've got something to start with. All right, 2 more. Here we go. I'm going to say I'm getting in trouble. I stay in trouble, right? Am I self-sabotaging my dream?
Wow.
Let me just read it. I've got to start paying attention to the patterns. Everybody's life has patterns.
Yeah.
There's positive patterns and there's negative patterns.
Yeah.
And one pattern is I've got no options. And I've got to pay attention to that pattern. Either I'm living isolated, my shyness is dominating what I desire. I've also got to look for the pattern of, hey, it always ends and it doesn't end on my terms. That's a pattern. Or I'm the one who always ends it over and over and over and over again. Nobody is good enough. I've got to pay attention to the pattern, or I'm going to continue to self-sabotage. Let me give you a nice example of self-sabotage. Some of us, I know it's not everybody watching YouTube, some of us, we're just too spiritual. So if the person we're interested in doesn't show up to all 21 days of 21 days of prayer event, you're not an option. And your pharisaical spirit is sabotaging what you're looking for. Ooh, yes, they have to have a relationship with God. But
do they have to serve in a
they
dream
don't
team?
got to scream in tongues, be able to cast out devils, go to your church, sit under your pastor, on and on and on. I must know my story and its effects. Everybody has a story, and everybody's story has positive effects, and everybody's story has negative effects. And if you don't know the negative effects of your story, it is going to cause you to sabotage what your dream actually is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe I come from a household where my parents were never married, or my parents were divorced, or my parents were married for 4 decades and miserable. Or one of my parents was dominating over my other parent, and that parent whispered to me, never be in a position where you can be controlled, or whatever it may be. All of that is a part of my story, and it affects how I interact with people. It's a lens on which I look at another person, and here am I saying I can't see any options, and okay, I'm not going to be too mean, but what we really need to say is I can't see.
Yeah, that's great.
Because my story has blinded me, and nobody gets through life unscathed. And I got to know what that story is so that I can keep its effects from killing the dream that I have. And then here's the other side of it. I got to pay attention to their story and their patterns. So I don't know what it is, but for some reason, my issues go and find other people's issues. And I love them, they love me, but it's always wars and rumors of wars. It's just, man, we get in an argument, and I don't talk to them for 3 days, and then I come back, and I expect them to pick up right where they left off, and then they get mad, and they don't ghost me for 3 days, and this is our normal craziness. And if that's what dating is like, what do you think marriage is going to be? I've got to know my patterns. I've got to know my stories. I've got to know their patterns, and I've got to know their stories. Last one is this. I found someone, finally. Where do I start? What does this journey look like? How do I, and this is where it gets fun, because they're like, does he pay for the first date? Which the answer is yes. At yes, that's the answer, right? At what point do we go Dutch? Never. But when do I reach? You very confident about what this is. All that other good stuff. When do we ask real life? How do I know? Do you want to have kids? How many kids? All that other good stuff. And what's happening, I don't know if it is the plague of the pandemic, but it's like, we don't really need to go out anymore. I don't need to plan a date. Let's just Netflix and chill. Let's just. So what am I looking? I found somebody. What should the journey look like? 3 thoughts. The first one is this. Are there enough common values to even start the journey? So let's not even get started unless there's those commonalities of we're headed in the same direction. One, are you attracted? If you're not, don't wait for it to come later. But they got a nice personality. Yeah.
They have a nice heart.
But, and everybody has different things that they're attracted to. Tracking with me? But sometimes we get in this little church world where we get so saved, as long as they can spell Jesus, nothing else Jesus made me in matters. Obviously, second is, do they have a relationship with God? And then 2, do they have some type of focus or vision? What they're going after today is not necessarily what they're going to be going after 10 years from now. But is there some indication of a calling or a vision or something that I am running after? Here's the second one, and I don't mean to beat up on Christians, but I do. Is this a best friend or just a warm body? Friendship's vital. And sometimes we jump too fast into what's your plan for your life 10 years from now? And what's your financial plan? And what's this and what's that? Let's start with, do I even enjoy being around you? Can we laugh together? Because you guys, you know, you've got those people that if you're having a bad day, you don't want to be around them. because they are going to try to pastor you. They're going to try to tell you to do this or do. That's not a friend. A friend is the type of person that if you can see me in any state I am, because you actually bring comfort, you don't bring stress, and you're tracking with me. And that's why we went ice skating. That's why we did all this kind of crazy stuff long before we ever sat down and said, where do you see yourself 10 years from now or anything like that? Because we can have a common vision for our lives, and that still don't mean we should be married. You've got common vision with hundreds of people out here. That's not enough to build a marriage on. Is there a friendship? Is there a connection? Is there something that we can enjoy life together? And then the last is, do we have a solid foundation to build a great future? And that's where we start talking about, hey, where are you going? What are your plans? What evidence do you have that you can get there? Do I want to go with you? Here's my plans. Here's my goals. Here's what I'm looking at. In church all the time, wives submit to your husband. And wives like, oh my God, why do I submit to this guy? You get to pick. It's really easy to submit to somebody. I'm never okay, so let me not make it easy. But it's easier when the person you're submitted to is heading to a place you want to go. And you have the values that you share. And, hey, we agree on this direction and that direction and all that other good stuff. So we've got to do the work of, hey, is there a foundation? Is there a commonality and all that other good stuff? And I'm not going to jump into it here because I jump into the book. But that's why, take Christianity aside, take faith aside, take sin aside. That's why sex messes up a relationship. Because as soon as that enters a relationship, I'm no longer thinking straight. I'm no longer thinking, do we have a foundation we can build? Do I even like your values? Do I even like being around you? I'm no longer thinking with this, I'm thinking with something else. And that doesn't think. So I could end up in a situation that I step back that a lot of people do is, how did I get here? I introduced something that muddied the water and made me inebriated and able to make a sensible decision. That is the ultimate dating survival guide. Come on. Now, what's fun is we've got the book coming out in January 21st, Relationship Roadmaps. And in this, we're unpacking 24 chapters of, hey, what do I look for? What's the journey like? What's a red flag? What's a yellow flag? How do I deal with what my story is and the patterns that are created on and on and on? And I really want that journey to not just be a book, but let's take this journey together and have God spin his story through your life. So what we're asking is, let's take this journey together, but let's start it today. Instead of saying, hey, let's do it in January, we're starting it today. So we're asking, hey, pre-order the book. You go to StephenRChandler.com to pre-order the book. But as we were kind of sitting back and saying, okay, this is cool, but it's still 4 months away. I'm not feeling like waiting for 4 months away and all that. So we actually came up with a relationship roadmaps bundle that if you pre-order the book today, you're going to get resources dropped to you every single month for the next 4 months leading up. And the first one, we've been trying to hold it like it's a secret. Some of y'all know, but we've been trying to hold it together. We put together a 5-session e-course called the Relationship Cheat Codes, where we literally unpack 5 aspects that we literally just talked about of, hey, let me set a vision for marriage. Because one of the reasons why we're not prioritizing dating is marriage is not as attractional to us as it used to be. And it's not that marriage is not attractional, it's that we've missed what it is in its beauty. How do I make sure that I'm the best version of me so I can attract the best that I'm looking for? We go through, and you know me, in a little bit of a savage manner of, okay, what am I looking for? What's a deal breaker? What's a red flag? What's a yellow flag? And some of us, what we call red flags, are not red flags. It is not something to call it off on. What does dating look like? How do I properly vet somebody that I am interested in? So we want to get you that e-course, the Relationship Cheat Codes, with a little bit of exchange. Pre-order the book today, and we will send that to you in the next 72 hours. It's all recorded, all up and ready to go, and you can walk through that and actually set up, okay, here's what I'm looking for. Here's the options that I have. Here's the options that I do not have. Here's what I need to work on, all that other good stuff. Also, if you pre-order the book as a kind of thank you, you're going to get some of it before anybody else. So in the next 8 weeks, you're going to get chapter 1 of the book and be able to start that journey. What else do we have? Oh, there's some dating quizzes that are going to come out of how do I know? Oh, I'm going to get in trouble. Don't be mad at me. But some of y'all think you're ready and you ain't ready. So we're going to help you a little bit with self-awareness. Okay, is this literally, we used to say back in the day, the jungle has spoken. And what does that mean? If I'm offering something to the world and the world ain't buying, the world is trying to tell me something needs to change. So that'll be the quiz. And then obviously, we've got our singles night that is coming up. Save the date. It's January 24th. 2021, so it's going to be the Friday after the book releases. It's going to be in a massive venue because our buildings aren't big enough, and it is going to sell out, as everything that we do is. So if you pre-order the book, get the bundle, then you get access to those tickets before anybody else, guaranteed to be in the building. So you get the e-course, get the first chapter of the book, you get the quizzes, you get first access to our singles night, January 24th, 2025. All of that, you add all of that up, and it's literally, no exaggeration, over $2,500 worth of value. And you get it all for $26.99. The cost of relationship roadmaps. Obviously, as you pre-order the book, it begins to climb, and marketing and spread and all that. So you're helping us massively, and we want to be a blessing to you for helping us with that. So what do I do? A, pre-order the book. Go to StephenRChandler.com or Slight Flex. Wherever books are sold, you can get it. It's everywhere. And then once you get your receipt for the pre-order, go to the website, and you'll see right on there, there's a form that you can fill out. Put your confirmation code in there, and as soon as you put the confirmation code in there, you're going to receive everything in that bundle from us. Cool? All the way good. All right.
A lot of good stuff.
So y'all been rolling your eyes, blowing up this comment the entire time, and we're going to jump in to some questions and some Q&A. So, babe, how did I do? Did you clean me up? Did I say something wrong?
You did great, but there are several things, and I'm like, Stephen Chan.
You're going to get in trouble. You're cooked. You're done.
What in the world? You have people that maybe they've been single for quite some time now, and they believe their faith has been growing, and they believe God for great things. He's a great big God. Yeah. And are you saying that they should drop their expectations? Because, they may have a list of what... Their
expectations of God? Or the
expectation of a spouse or who they're looking for. Are you saying that they're unrealistic?
Oh, most of us are. Well, first of all, the Bible says faith without works is dead. Yeah. So if you say you're believing God for a spouse and you are locking yourself in your house and never coming out until God sends you your spouse, he's not sending them. He brought I'm having fun being a preacher. He brought Abraham out of the tent, not back into it. So it is us doing the work and God blessing that work that is going to bring those results. I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I'm being a little belligerent, but that's okay. You're going to live. If you have not been on a date in the last 12 to 18 months, you're too picky. You're looking for something that maybe be the finish line, and let's say the finish line is the wedding day. So you're looking for finish line evidence before you start the race. Yeah. And you don't need finish line evidence to start the journey. You need finish line evidence before you say yes to that ring. Yeah. And we've all seen the real awkward one at the basketball game where he gets down on the knees and she's like, don't do that, by the way. But I like I said, I need attraction. Okay. I need Jesus. And I need some indication that they're heading somewhere with their life. And that's enough to exchange numbers. That's enough to say, yeah, I'll go out to coffee with your Double D diner or Philly or whatever else it may be. And sometimes, pride, we want every relationship to be our last relationship. And the realization is every relationship is going to end up with a breakup, except for one. And your heart shouldn't be shattered unless you were putting all your hopes in a boyfriend or a girlfriend. instead of all your hopes in God. That he's got the right person for me. And I hope it's them. And if it's not, I'm disappointed, but I'm not devastated.
That's great.
So let me grab another one. I'm going to jump over here. Sheila said, what's the best way for a single divorced woman to mingle and meet dating-minded single men?
That's great.
Okay, Sheila, I love you. You're great. I'm going to get in trouble. Stephen, stay out of trouble. Sheila, no stranger knows you're divorced except for you. And oftentimes, as divorced people, you wear a scarlet letter on your psyche that nobody else sees or knows but you.
That is so good.
You see yourself as, damaged goods or whatever it may be, and nobody else sees you that way. That's the enemy whispering something in your ear. So the reality is, as a divorced woman, you mingle the same way women that have never been married mingle. I'm looking for where people are: the gym, work, church, not the club, not the bar. What do they say? I think it's 28% of relationships that started in the last 3 years started through a dating app. And I know the drama of the dating app. Most people are there are not Christians. Most people are there are of the, 61% that are not looking for a long-term relationship and all that other good stuff. And I keep on saying, if it were that easy, everybody would be married.
Come on.
If it was that easy, it wouldn't be one of the most important things in our lives.
That's great.
Who has a mic? Questions? What we got? Yes, right behind you, babe. You've had questions all day. Let's go.
Okay, so dating lukewarm Christians.
Uh-huh.
Is it a red flag? Is it a yellow flag? Or am I too picky?
So I would say, so the question is dating lukewarm Christians red flag, yellow flag, or am I too picky? It is a red flag, but are you sure they're lukewarm or you're super spiritual? Ooh.
Tell me more.
So what is a lukewarm Christian? I don't go to church. God know my heart. My relationship between me and God, or whatever it may be, and there's no fruit. Are they lukewarm if they don't serve at their church? You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they work. Maybe they're exhausted, or whatever it may be. Are they lukewarm because they're not in a connect group? No, maybe they're new and they don't know people like that, or whatever it may be. So I think it's very important to, is this actually someone who does not care about their faith? Or if this is someone who does care about their faith, but they're just not living it out the same way that I'm living it out. Does that help? Does that make sense? So here's what I would do. I would get other eyes on that person.
Okay.
And not your girlfriends who want him to, but some neutral party. Some mentor, somebody with wisdom, where you can say, here's what I'm seeing. Am I being judgmental, or is that really something that I don't want to get you had a follow-up?
I did.
Go ahead.
So, does not pursuing purity make them a lukewarm Christian?
Absolutely. If someone, I have no problem, sleeping around before marriage or whatever it may be. And I know as a pastor, there is the faith thing. There is the relationship with God thing, which is 100% valid. But for everybody watching, not everybody watching is a Christian. Not everybody watching, has biblical worldview. Okay, let's just talk common sense. You're not thinking straight. Yeah. You are not thinking straight when you introduce into sexual intimacy into a relationship. Yeah. And literally, if we don't let you drive a car inebriated, why would we let you pick a spouse inebriated? Yeah. That doesn't... okay, I'm having fun. All right. Fabiana says this. Single mom with 2 kids, hero, new to dating. When do I know it's right to introduce my kids into the relationship? That's huge, and I don't know why. It's probably because I'm the second born, but I'm the first boy. I'm just super protective. That's just kind of my DNA. And particularly men and women that have children, introduce your children to the person you're dating 1,000 times later, not sooner. It is not healthy for children to have adults coming in and out of their life. And man, and you kind of know how it is because your nieces and nephews are like that. If a man steps into the room, they start seeing it as a male figure, as a father figure. If a woman steps in the room, I start seeing it as a motherly figure or whatever it may be. I get attached to this male figure, and then they're gone. And mom or dad's not really going to give me an explanation of why they're gone. Or even worse, you do give them an explanation of why they're gone. Now they hate that person or whatever it may be. So I don't think it's fair to date someone and not tell them you have children. That needs to be first date or even before the first date that I do have children. But I really advise single parents with children, not over the house, you don't get to meet my kids for a long time. I'm not introducing you as my boyfriend or as my girlfriend to my children. Not that I'm ashamed of you, but I'm guarding their heart. Now, if it's 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old, they're no dummy. They know mommy's getting dressed up and going somewhere. So you can have a conversation with them on the level of maturity that they can handle, but you're still not going to meet them. I need to really know. And then here's the other side of it. When I've got kids, I can't date somebody for 3 years.
No.
I don't have a 2-year runway to really figure out. We're going to have to be friends a lot longer and date a lot shorter, because I'm not going to be able to keep this person out of my child's life forever, especially as we're getting closer and closer and closer. But I've got to know, if they're not going to be in our life forever, I don't want to take my child through a repeated trauma.
That's great.
So, go for it.
What does the vetting process look like in this Christian and secular spaces? And what part of your relationship do you start vetting?
What part? Vetting in terms of?
Is this person a good person? Do they have some things I need
Spying
to look
out the
for?
land.
Yeah. So it all depends on how you meet them. If you work with the person, if you have a common friend group, if you go to the same church, it's easier to observe them before the first date. If it's a random person that I run to, at a restaurant or whatever it may be, okay, what do we do? Do we exchange numbers? Do we exchange IG? If I meet them on an app or whatever it may be. And I think the more of a stranger they are, the more the talking period is. Which we're going to have a few phone conversations. If we go out, you're not picking me up, I'll meet you at the restaurant. Well, I'm a gentleman. That's okay. You can be a gentleman a little bit later. But right now, you look like a serial killer. So I'm going to drive myself, and I'm going to drive myself home, and I'm going to meet you in a public place. And we're going to be wise about this. And if you have a problem with it, it's already telling me that there's a concern, and then there's an issue there or whatever else it may be. And I think secrecy is a major red flag. If it's somebody that I randomly meet, somewhere, then it's, hey, me and some friends are going to go here. Would you like to join us? No, I don't really want to be around your friends. No, okay, cool, fine. And no, because I don't mean to be super spiritual, but the Bible says children of the light love the light. And if you're trying to sneak around, that's a red flag for me.
What would you say, real quick, for someone that's shy? Like they want to get to know someone, and speak from the women perspective and also the...
We have some fun. Introverts. Wave at me. Okay. Oh, yeah. Cool. Not necessarily shy, but I'm not throw myself out there. A lot of people don't know this. 70% of America's population are introverts. All y'all people with 29,000 friends. There's only 30% of y'all weirdos. Most of us normal people, no new friends. We on that Drake tip. So what did I do to kind of get out of my shyness, to get out of that introvertism? I found that activities make me more social, and it makes me less shy. So whether it's working out, whether it's, I'm super saved. So in college, I used to go to all the Christian events, and I realized, well, if I go, I'm not going to talk to anybody. So I'd show up early, and I'd start setting up chairs, and I'd help them kind of tear the lights down and all that other good stuff. And I found that as I'm serving and working and helping, I'm just naturally talking to the person that I'm serving with or whatever it may be, and it helps to drop my guard. So that's part of it. Shameless plug, we talk about this in the e-course. Most people don't know themselves. So because they don't know themselves, they don't know how to position themselves best to be able to be the highest level of comfort, the highest level of calmness, or whatever it may be. So for shy folks, find a way to add an activity to your socializing that will cause you to calm down. The other thing is, and I'm going to talk about arranged marriages today, I'm really big on, hey, who's your friend? Can you help me out? Yeah. And I think a lot of it is not shyness, it's pride. Ooh. I don't want to ask for help because I don't want people to know I ain't got no swag or whatever it may be. And in the end, when you get married, does it really matter?
Not at all.
How you got there? No, okay, maybe it does, a little bit, not much so. So use your community around you of, hey, who's your friend? Can you introduce me? Or, hey, are they crazy? Vet them for me so I don't have to vet them for myself. You can pass the mic. I'm going to jump in. We'll do 3 or 4 more. Michelle, so are women supposed to approach the man because they are not approaching us? You said no? Absolutely yes.
Okay.
Absolutely yes.
What does that look like?
So, say again. How? That's fun. So, she said, hey, first question is, are women supposed to approach the man if the man's not approaching them? When you think about 70% of America is introverts, and introverts sometimes is synonymous with shyness. Yeah. Just because he doesn't approach you may not mean that he's not interested. He may literally be intimidated. Make sense? Or he may think he don't got a shot. Ooh. And you're like, no, you got a shot. Come say hi. You go say hi. Make sense? Now, we're not saying to throw yourself at him, but, say again? Set them up for the win.
Okay, so, what can someone say?
Put numbers in my phone. Would you mind if I put yours in while I'm at it? Or, I mean, literally, hey, are you on IG? What's your IG? Okay, now you have mine. Like, if you're not slow, you know what I'm here. This is called an alley-oop, my guy. It is your time to. But a lot of that stuff is just pride. Of or super spirituality. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing. Yeah, a man who finds a wife. Didn't say you gotta find the first date.
Can a woman ask a man out?
Can a woman ask a man? So what you'll find is almost everything Stephen Chandler says is gray. None of it is black and white. So it does matter the circumstances. So if he initiates and he gets your number and you guys are on the phone for 3 months and he never asks you out, don't ask him out. He's already told you you're friend zone or I'm just playing with you or whatever it may be. So there's circumstances where it's like, no. But there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, would you like to go out or whatever it may be. I'm just telling you, I've been pastoring thousands of people. The bold ones are not single for long. No. And they're the ones that be walking down the aisle. So you can be timid if you want. There does need to be a moment in the relationship where he takes the lead.
Yeah.
Where he says, will you be my girlfriend? Or here's what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with asking him, hey, where's this going? What are we doing? We need to define the relationship. I will say when you ask, it is now, can I just make up a number?
Go for it.
A 48-hour ticking clock. If you throw yourself out there, ladies, and you say, hey, we've been talking for 3 months, or we've been going out, I need to know what this is.
And he says, I need to pray about it.
He doesn't get 40 days.
Okay.
He does not get, because here's what every guy will tell you, even though we don't really want to tell, we know what we want. We know what we want. And our indecision is a decision. So don't let him play you. Don't let him waste your time. He knows what he wants. There's nothing wrong with putting him in a position where, hey, you got to let me know what you want. But all of us can testify we spent too much time on a bad choice and probably should have moved on a lot faster. All right, where are we at?
You had a question here?
I'm going to do this one here. I'll come there in a minute.
Okay.
Jaziel. Is there a specific person God has for us, or do we pick and choose? Great question. I'll give you a very short answer. You pick and choose. God has given you free will, and there is nowhere in Scripture where God said you must marry that person. Even when he said, hey, go find a person from this country. They had the whole country to pick from. God is not going to force you or manipulate you or even control you because he's given you free will. Another verse, the Bible says you have the mind of Christ. So some of you need to trust your own decision making a little bit more. Unless you make bad decisions, then stop trusting yourself. Go for it. We'll do like 2 more, and then these are flying in. Go ahead.
So my question is dating within church.
Mm-hmm.
So how does one date within church without damaging someone else's relationship with God or pushing yourself away from the church because things didn't work out?
Yeah. That's a phenomenal question. And, don't have sex. That would help. It's no different than dating at work. Because if it don't work out, I still got to see you. Or dating in a friend circle. Because if it doesn't work out, we still got common friends, even though we know that gets kind of awkward, so it is what it is. But it's, am I dating with integrity? Am I not gaslighting? Am I not lying? Am I not telling you, man, when we get married and this and that, when I really know love bombing and all this other good stuff? And some of it's not even intentional. Some of it's just immaturity and you're just too saved. And you've been dating for 3 weeks and y'all are planning your 10th wedding anniversary and how many kids you want to have and all that. You just jumped in too quick, too fast. So I think the first step is guard your heart. And you're not responsible for guarding their heart. But if you guard your heart in kind, you will also end up guarding their heart. Which is, obviously, don't do anything immoral. Be as integrous and transparent as you possibly can be. And then just know marriage comes before ministry. So some folks are just like, I'm not going to date in the church. I said that.
You did say that.
I did. I nearly missed my wife. I was a pastor of a very small church at the time. And I'm like, I can't date any girls in the church because if I date a girl in the church and we break up, first of all my business is going to be out here for the whole world to know, which I don't want. And then second of all, that's a church split and all this other good stuff. And it was my mother that came to me and said, that's a dumb rule. If you don't date that girl, you are an idiot and you're missing out. And I had to break a false rule that I had made just because I thought I was living with wisdom and all that other good stuff. So a lot of times, like, I like this church, and if I break up with somebody in church, then it's not going to be my church anymore. And it's like, okay, you got married. Go find another church. You're going to be all right. But at least church, I'm getting in trouble. Church is not till death do us part.
No.
Marriage is.
Yeah.
And I want you to stay at this church or whatever church you're at, but don't prioritize, being comfortable in church from potentially finding the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Does it make sense?
That's great. You said 4 services.
4 services. Go ahead. Go to a different service. Hey, we got 6 campuses now. Now, just because we're having fun, there was a guy at this church that had a girlfriend at one campus and a girlfriend at another campus. And,
And they met at Catalyst.
Can we just have some fun? So this was way back in the day. And what we ended up doing is combining the 2 campuses to launch our Columbia campus. And he left the church because he's like, nah, I can't.
It's messy.
So don't be messy in church. CJ says, what do you say to a guy who is a virgin, never been in a relationship, and close to 40? Ooh. Is that a movie? That's like a movie, right? 40-year-old virgin. He just got to a point where he overcame his past, but has no one to help him in approaching women. So what would I say? I would say get in church and get around some godly men and help those men, allow those men to help you walk and learn and grow and all that. It says just got over his past. I don't know what that means, and I'm not going to read into it, but it wasn't, I'm a faithful Christian just waiting for my spouse. There was something there, and you've got to make sure you've got people around you that help you walk with holiness, walk with purity, walk with wholeness, or whatever it may be. Proud of you that you kicked whatever you needed to kick, and God does have a great future for your past. But the beautiful thing about church is you've got a community that will not just teach you Bible, but they'll teach you how to thrive and maximize.
And when he gets over his past, there's so many of them that are 35 and up, 40-year-old, they're waiting for him. So he needs to do that quickly. At least here at Union.
I like how you said 35 and up.
Why? Oh, why?
She was trying to tell you if you're 40, you're not allowed to go below 35. That's all. You have one? We're going to end. Oh, go for you. We'll end with you, and we'll wrap it. Go ahead.
It's kind of on
that same tip. So first off, thank you for what you shared earlier. Prioritization, I think that was my issue. So now that dating is a priority for me, it's interesting. And I'm thinking about a couple things that you've actually said at singles nights in the past, circa 2022, 2023. Wow. Two things. First, don't date alone, which has been very helpful.
Yeah.
And then the second is that there's no grace in dating. So do you still believe that there's no grace in dating? If so, what does that look like for us 30-somethings, 40-somethings?
Yeah. And when I say no grace in dating, I'm saying if it's a red flag, don't give them a shot.
Right.
Dragon. Yeah. So, yes and no. I think there's too much grace for unbelievers. People will cheat, they'll do all of that kind of stuff, and you keep taking them back. Yeah. And it's like, you're crazy. That is not leading to a healthy marriage. You practice like you play. Don't listen to Allen Iverson. Practice? You talking about practice? Yes, practice indicates how you play. So I think in some spaces, there's too much grace. I think in the Christian space, when I say there is no grace, what I mean is the same thing. If somebody is struggling with alcoholism, you're not their pastor. You're not their counselor. You're trying to say, do I want to build a life with this person? Run for do you want them to beat it? Do you want them to be clean? Do you want them to maximize the call of God in their life? Yes. Should I stick around and wait? No. And so I do think that there still is too much grace. If you cheat, no, bye, I'm out. You practice like you play. Now, like I said, everything Stephen says is gray. It's not black and white. Some of the stuff that we cancel people for is not cancelable. Man, they got mad and they ghosted me for 3 days. And that's a red flag. I'm done. Is that a red flag? Yes. It speaks to low emotional intelligence. Yeah. Does that mean run for your life now? It's in the e-course. No, but put your shoes on. Don't run, but start lacing them joints up. Like, start stretching. I'm getting ready to hit this track. But why? What's the story? What's the journey? What's going on here? Oh, hey, I'm not looking for a perfect person because there's no perfect people. What I'm looking for is a person who knows their story, understands their pattern, and they are doing the work to get whole. And if they're doing the work to get whole and their trajectory of wholeness matches my timeline.
Ooh, that part.
Tracking with me? I'm trying to get married in the next 12 months and they're on a 3-year trajectory. No, let's just break up. If I'm still single 3 years from now and you're whole, I'll come back and spin the block. And, I'm not saying no forever. I'm just saying I'm going to see if there's somebody who's ready a little bit faster than that.
That's so good.
You're going to end it. Go for it.
So
we'll let Jason end it.
So for those who are dating, and have been dating for a while and taking the steps towards, a ring and marriage, how do you start making those, joint decisions that will give you practice towards that next step while still balancing and respecting what God wants in a single man and woman? That's a phenomenal question.
I just had fun thinking about the misery of planning a wedding together. That was cool. You really don't want to make joint decisions almost until you walk down the aisle. Here's why. I want to see how they make decisions by themselves. Because if I'm the one who's telling them spend, don't spend, take that job, don't take that job, or whatever it may be, I don't know what their decision making is like minus my wisdom. So I don't know, are they a person of wisdom or are they just mooching off of, my wisdom? And I'm trying to evaluate them as an individual before so yes, all of us, married or not, when you're making a decision, buying a house, taking a job or whatever, you're gonna ask a friend, what do you think? What do you think about this? There's nothing wrong with, man, I think that's a great house, go ahead and buy it. If we're thinking about getting married, probably wanna hold off and wait, or don't take the job in Texas because I was hoping you'd stay here. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wouldn't, a mentor of mine called it abnormal marriages, where I'm making life decisions with you as if we're married, but we're not married.
Yeah.
So you should not factor in that much into my life decisions. I really want to evaluate that person as an individual.
Does that change when you become engaged?
It does, but not much. Not much. Some engaged couples are like, yeah, we're going to buy a house, and we want to move into a house or whatever it may be and all that. I personally don't advise that at all. If you have a house, great. You can figure out which one y'all going to move into when you get married. But if you're renting, rent for the first 12 months. Just enjoy your marriage, enjoy each other, travel, and then let's make those big life decisions after we say I do. But if the wedding is at 12 noon, you have until 11:59 to change your mind. And if we both signed on a mortgage 4 weeks before that wedding day, can we just be drama-filled?
Go for it.
I know people who cheated at the bachelor party the night before the wedding. That changes things.
That changes things.
Yeah, drastically. But our names are already on a mortgage together. Now if we don't get married, we got to do divorced stuff to split this apart instead of, I'm out. You crazy. Thanks for letting me know before I went and stood before that pastor. So I'd be very mindful to not, once again, gray, not black and white. Cool. Last one. Jason says, she's so nice, but I'm not attracted to her anymore.
Ooh.
What do I do? Jason, you put your shoes on, you lace them up real tight, you take off running. Attraction is big. God gave you 2 eyes on purpose. And that verse is the same. God looks at the heart, but man looks at the outward appearance.
Yeah.
And people's bodies change through 40, 50, 60 years of marriage. So attraction is not the only thing that keeps a marriage together. There are other things that are important as well. But attraction is important. Now, if you've been single for 12 to 18 months and have not been on one date, and I haven't seen anybody I'm attracted to in this big world, you don't have sober judgment. You think more highly of yourself than you ought. You ain't a 10, let's come down to 7, and let's consider. If you think you jump to 7, and you're tracking with me, but attraction really is a big deal. That was fun. That was good. All the way good, all the way good. One more time, make sure, pre-order the book, Relationship Roadmaps, and don't just pre-order it, but let us know that you did. Go to StephenRChandler.com, put that confirmation code in there, and we will send you relationship cheat codes, 5 sessions unpacking a lot of what we talked about, kind of in a more in-depth session. You get early access to Singles Night coming up, first chapter of the book, and all these we got some fun stuff that we are coming out and all that. But we're grateful for you. Love you. Have a great night.